Hey there, it's Rob from Queen Bitch Amps. That was the Little Wonder Tube Combo Amp, clean setting, with the Höfner Sounds of the 60s reverb pedal. Now because that Höfner pedal series and the Queen Bitch Amps are all hand-wired in Europe and contain some vintage NOS components, we wanted to hear how they would sound together. So what we did was we arranged a session with Albert Kastleder, who's the designer of the Höfner pedals, and members of the Beats, who are one of Europe's leading Beatles tribute bands. Now the Beats are sponsored by Höfner, who made the original Beatle bass that Paul McCartney is famous for playing. So we'll take a look at that session in just a minute, but first let's run down the features and the controls of the Little Wonder amp. The Little Wonder is a super compact 16-watt hand-wired EL84 combo in a 13-ply Baltic birch cabinet that comes in blue or natural blonde. Either finish is available in knockdown form, like a piece of IKEA furniture. It takes less than an hour to put the amp together, and the tools come with it. One of the coolest features of this cabinet is the tilt back, which is great for practice, for studio use, or for stage monitoring. The amp comes equipped with a Celestion vintage 10-inch speaker, with the option for a Celestion Alnico Gold, which really brings out the amp's British character. Looking at the front panel now, the high-gain input is ideal for single-coil pickups or for really pushing the amp into heavy overdrive. There's a low-gain padded input that's more suitable for humbuckers, pedal rigs, or even harmonica microphones. There's a single volume control to handle the amp's substantial gain. The single tone control is quite a departure from the treble cut only single tone controls found on many early amps. This is a blend between high pass and low pass filters, so you get this continuously variable sweep across the range of the control. For everything from surf guitar to jazz, you can quickly dial in the sound you need for any guitar with this tone control. The tone control can be bypassed with this toggle switch, which gives you not only a jump in gain of about 12 dB, but it also brings the mids forward so you can get some great feedback effects and really drive the amp hard. Looking at the back of the amp, the first thing you notice is that the tubes are pointing up. This is great for a couple of reasons. It allows the air to flow over the tubes in either cabinet position and keeps them cool so they last longer. For another, it makes it really easy when you're changing tubes to see which way the pins go. There's no craning your neck to look upside down at where the tubes are. The tubes are all in ceramic sockets, which helps with the cooling as well, as does the aluminum chassis. The tubes are all JJs. There's a pair of matched JJ EL84s and a pair of JJ 12AX7s or ECC83s. Down here where the power switch is, there's a built-in power line filter. It's part of the reason this amp is so insanely quiet. This steel safety grille protects the tubes from impact and from being touched. Inside, there's a switch for selecting the output tube bias level. That means you can run the output tubes at a normal 70% dissipation or really crank them to 100% like the EL84s and an old AC30 were. It's a hot sound. It shortens the tube life, but if that's the sound you want, it's great to be able to get that option at the flick of a switch. Also up there in the back is an output tube bias balance control. That allows you to balance the current between the two output tubes. How do you know the current? Well, there's also a pair of test points at the back. Two pair actually, one for each of the output tubes. So if you've got a digital meter, you can plug the probes straight into the underside of the chassis and measure the current on each of the output tubes and tweak it with the bias level control. Further inside, there are some NOS German signal capacitors. These caps have been in dry storage in Switzerland since the 1970s, and they impart a really special character to this amplifier. All the other interior components are top of the line. The resistors are oversized, the electrolytic capacitors are high-temperature, long-life types, and everything is carefully hand-wired with silver solder onto a custom eyelet board. In short, the Little Wonder is kind of like a classic sports car. It's super compact, the controls are dead simple, and it's way more fun than it should be. We're going to listen to it now with the Höfner President guitar plugged straight in. János was using the neck pickup in single coil mode for this clip into the amp's low gain input. Now we're going straight into the high gain input with the tone control bypassed and the guitar dimed in humbucker mode, so you can hear how the amp gets some natural tube grit even though the volume is turned down to 2. Next, we tried it with Höfner's twin-channel overdrive pedal that has separate drive levels for the A and B channels. This is the pedal that everyone wanted to try. The next pedal we tried was the bass fuzz, which we were curious to hear on guitar. This is a classic 60s style fuzz that uses authentic NOS germanium transistors. Finally, we tried Höfner's treble boost pedal. Now, treble boosters were kind of a mainstay for British guitarists like Clapton and Brian May, so we wanted to hear how that worked with the British vibe of the Little Wonder. János was really liking the sound of the treble booster, but it was getting kind of loud for him even with the Little Wonder turned down to 2. So he turned up the booster and moved away a few feet and then really dug in. All the Höfner pedals and all the instruments they make are available from dealers everywhere, so the best way to find one in your area is to go to Höfner.com and look for the dealer locator at the top of the screen. And for more information on the Little Wonder, which is for sale on Etsy, you can go to etsy.com, etsy.com, and search on Queen Bitch Amps, or go to queenbitchamplification.com. Thanks very much for watching. Now you can go back to whatever you were doing.